Good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday, March 28th. We have made it through it yet another week under this pre-fascist, whatever you want to call it, disaster dumpster fire of a administration. So pat yourselves in the back. You survived. We all survived. Well, most of us anyway. Now that said, all right, I got a pretty good show for you all today. We're going to talk about a self-described MAGA junkie having some regrets after the leopards paid her a visit. Of course, it's sad that it takes that for them to change their minds, but there it is. We've got Donald Trump in panic mode over some election losses. Fun times. Fun times. All right. We have Republicans starting to speak out against Trump's disastrous tariffs. Okay. So these are tariffs that have just been announced. The auto tariffs, about 25% on auto imports. Yikes. And you've got Republicans that are like, oh, maybe this is not a good idea. This is a bad idea. And then we have Greenlanders that are not happy with J.D. Vance and Usha Vance visiting the island. Not happy about that at all. And so let's and I'll cap today's show off with the Tesla takedown. That's going to be happening over the weekend. So on Saturday, there will be mass protests against Tesla and Elon Musk. So, oh, it's so good. It's so good. All right. So, with that, thank you for tuning in. It's going to be a great show. Before we get into it, I do want to thank Bar for signing up to become a channel member. Y'all, I need channel members. I need patrons like bad. Okay. Need to remain independent, be independent, not have to worry about ads, not have to worry about any of that stuff. That's why I need you guys to sign up and support the show. Need it more than ever. Progressive media is basically dying, okay? Because you have just the massive advantages of the right wing having the billionaires floating and pumping up these creators on the right wing with their billions of dollars. We do not have that here. I do not have a billionaire patron. I do not have Daddy Warbucks behind me. I have you. I have the viewers, and I need as many of you as you can to sign up and support independent progressive media. We're actually fighting for the right things. We're fighting for healthcare. We're fighting for homes for homeless people, to help the unhoused, to help people be able to take care of their families and their kids. That's the overall goal here, is to help the American people. And part of that, I think a big part of that, is getting out the progressive message so that people can vote for their own best interests as well as the best interests of the country. So please sign up, help us out, become a member, hit the join button below if you're on YouTube. And if you can, please become a patron. Patreon.com/jeffwaldorf. All right. I know. I'm sorry, but I'm in panic mode right now. Okay. I need your help. Need your help massively. All right. That said, let's go to our first segment here. Let's talk about effing around and finding out. Gotta love that. A self-styled MAGA junkie is having some regrets after the Leopards paid her a visit. In an interview with CNN, Jennifer Pickett, a former government employee, so she was a government employee, 3-time Trump voter, lost her job thanks to Doge. Here she is on CNN talking about that.
Jennifer Pickett voted for Trump in the November election. Then in February, she was fired from her civil service job.
Absolutely, I feel a little bit betrayed.
She was among more than 125 people dismissed last month from the Treasury Department's Bureau of Fiscal Service in Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Nobody that I've talked to understood the devastation that having this administration in office would do to our lives.
No kings, no tyrants!
The cuts have shaken up a community that overwhelmingly voted for Trump. He won West Virginia with 70% of the vote, but the betrayal felt by Pickett, a church-going conservative and 3-time Trump voter, comes as political analysts are examining early signs of a possible backlash in Republican strongholds like Parkersburg.
The concept of voting for that again, voting for Elon Musk essentially to wreck people's lives, I can't do it.
Okay, so I'm going to be super nice here, okay? And I'm going to say that I appreciate that she had the balls to come out and admit that she was wrong. That is very difficult to do. Most people you see when this happens, if they're on the Trump side, will double down and be like, you know what? My job was a sacrifice to make America great again. Now, please, can you help me with my GoFundMe? Okay. But again, okay. That said, I hate that it took her being personally affected by Donald Trump and Elon Musk to finally open her eyes. All right? It took the Leopards eating her face for her to figure out, oh, it turns out these people are not on our side. In fact, one of the things that she said that really stuck out to me was, nobody I've talked to understood the devastation that having this administration in office would do to our lives. That's because Trump supporters are part of a cult. They do not talk to people outside the cult. And by the way, if they do, I should say if and when they do, okay, they do not believe in anything that runs counter to what they hear from Trump and the rest of the cult. Okay, anything that we say, if we say, hey, look, Trump wants to cut these programs and make your life harder so he can give himself tax cuts. You tell them that, they're like, fake news, Democrat talking points, co-perceive. They just cut your job. Yeah, but, well, yeah. They just have a meltdown. It just, their brain just gives right out. Okay. So, no, we tell you the truth, but it doesn't matter to you. And look, we were saying, all up until the election, that Donald Trump, he is going to be a disaster for regular people, okay? He's going to do massive cuts to the government. Massive cuts. He's going to gut these agencies. He's going to steal as much money as he can get his grubby little orange hands on. We said that. We warned you. And we were called TDS, oh, you're the enemy of the people, lying Democrat media, blah, blah, blah. We were right. It's your fault for not listening. Your fault for voting for this. Now, since she came out and said this publicly, and it was a good couple of weeks ago, she said she has received death threats and had her home egged since speaking out. I'm guessing that must have been the cult hitting her for speaking out, because ain't nobody on the left rich enough to waste eggs. Not like that. Oh, hell no. Now, she's not the only person speaking out. A second fired Bureau of Fiscal Service employee, who remained anonymous, said that she was also having second thoughts about having voted for Trump after losing her job. Again, I hate this. People ignored the warnings because they wanted all the bad stuff to happen to other people, to happen to the libs, to happen to the brown people. That's it. Now, they're wanting, us to feel bad for them after they made a terrible decision. Okay? They wanted all the bad stuff to happen to other people, but when it happened to them, woe is me. Woe is me. How do you teach these people to have empathy for other people? They're demanding it now. Oh, please have empathy for me, but you didn't have empathy for anyone else. And that's the problem. She was fine with owning the libs. 3 times she voted for Trump. 3 times. This is not someone who showed up on election day as a low information voter and said, I don't know. I guess we need to change. I guess I'll vote for Trump, see what happens. No. She knew what Donald Trump was about and enthusiastically supported it until she was personally affected by this. And this is a great example of how selfish many Trump voters and Republicans actually are, only thinking about themselves, not the people that are being harmed by this administration, not the students that, are being deported, the immigrants being disappeared into a brutal El Salvadorian prison camp, despite committing no crimes, no reason for them to be here. Okay? You're not thinking about them. No. They don't think about anyone but themselves. So no, I do not feel sorry for you. Save your empathy for the innocent victims of Donald Trump's reign of terror that were enabled by her vote. I think I'm pretty clear, okay? Let's call it what they are, concentration camps. Yeah, they are. They are. You're right. You're right. They are. There we go. Okay. Yep, that's the one. Poor Elise Stefanik. No, I actually don't care about her. I don't care about her at all. Okay. Nobody does. President Donald Trump is apparently starting to panic. His policies are causing a lot of people to second guess his economic stewardship or, lack thereof. In fact, Trump's tariffs had previously, caused automakers to freak out. And so as a result, Trump's like, oh, you need to not raise prices, in response to my tariffs. So what, price controls? You're saying price controls now as a result of your disastrous policies? Okay, well, now that said, Americans, according to recent polling, are seeing the economic outlook as pretty bleak. According to a 1,000-person survey conducted by Clever Real Estate, published earlier in the week, only 26% of Americans feel better off than they did in September, with only a third, 34%, expecting a better financial situation 6 months from now. 63% of those surveyed, meanwhile, believe the government is not doing enough to address things like rising insurance costs, about 95%, inflation, 94%, and the general state of the economy, 89%. The poll also revealed that nearly 3/4, 74%, of Americans believe inflation will get worse over the next year, with 70% expressing greater concern about inflation now than in September, and only 39% approving of Trump's approach to managing it. What a disaster. What a complete disaster.
Whoopsie.
Oh, did I just crash the economy? Oops. But what does this have to do with Elise Stefanik? You might be wondering. So now it turns out that as a result of all this, Trump and the GOP are so concerned about losing the House of Representatives in the midterms that they are keeping Stefanik in her seat. And there's a reason. Some of the recent special elections that have happened have not exactly gone the way that Republicans had been hoping. According to Politico, a pair of April elections in deep red swaths of Florida next week were supposed to improve the GOP's cushion in the House and clear the path for Stefanik's departure, until Trump said he didn't, quote, want to take a chance on anyone else running for Elise's seat. That decision to pull Stefanik's nomination came as Republicans grew increasingly anxious about the race to fill the seat of National Security Advisor Mike Waltz on April 1st. Polling in that district, which Trump carried by 30 points, has tightened, and the president himself is hosting a teletown hall there to try to bail out Republican Randy Fine. An internal GOP poll from late March showed Democrat Josh Weil, up 3 points over Fine, 44 to 41%, with 10% undecided, according to a person familiar with the poll and granted anonymity to discuss it. Now, wait a minute. Oh, you libs with your fake news and your fake polls. This poll was done by Tony Fabrizio, Donald Trump's personal pollster. Oops. Oh, great. So, no, it's not fake. Not a fake poll by a fake pollster. No, it's a real poll, and it's really scaring the shit out of Republicans. According to two people familiar with internal conversations, this dismal polling has spooked Republicans and have spurred them to redouble their efforts to ensure a comfortable win in the district. Some Republican strategists said that it's not worth taking the risk of losing Stefanik's northern New York seat, which Trump won by 20 points in 2024. Can they defend their seat? Absolutely. But why do you do that right now? Asked Charlie Harper, a top aide to former Representative Karen Handel, on her successful 2017 bid in a special election in Georgia. If we're far underperforming in seats Trump won by 30, then there's obvious concern about having to chance special elections in seats Trump won by a lot less, said another top GOP operative granted anonymity to speak candidly. The juice is not worth the squeeze sweating them out. Being of sweating. Okay, they are sweating. In fact, in the state of Florida, Weil, the Democratic candidate, has raised about $10 million, which has led to Elon Musk's America PAC putting forward some last-minute cash for Mr. Fine, as well as Florida CFO Jimmy Patronis. Not only that, but Musk is also attempting to bribe people in Wisconsin to show up and vote for the Republican in the hotly contested state Supreme Court election. On Sunday night, Musk posted on his social media platform, I will give a talk in Wisconsin. Entrance is limited to those who have voted in the Supreme Court election. I will also personally hand over 2 checks for $1 million each in appreciation for you taking the time to vote. This is super important. You are, this is borderline, this is bribery, okay? It's not borderline at all. It feels like bribery. I'm just saying, feels like bribery. But here's the thing, though. What's really interesting about all this is that it's not like Stefanik's seat was entirely in danger. Republicans would probably win it. A poll in the district conducted last week, obtained by Politico, showed a Republican candidate up 16 points. Okay, so yes, a Republican would probably win that seat if Stefanik were to be in the cabinet, okay, or whatever job she was offered. Republicans have 80,000 more registered voters in that district than Democrats do. So, but the fact is that they are worried about what is considered to be a fairly safe seat tells you how unpopular they know they are. I'm not saying Democrats are popular either, but they've got the party has like a 29% approval rating, okay? But Republicans are not doing well either. People are not happy with the massive cuts in government services because of Doge, the price hikes, the inflation, the tariffs, which are a tax on consumers. They are not happy with any of this. And not to mention, you've got already a few scandals like Signalgate, Elon Musk, who's also deeply unpopular. Look, I'm just saying, the bleeding has begun, okay? And Republicans know this. And so it's up to us, the people, to keep up the pressure on them. All right. Hey, look at that. Mega Super Enrique, thank you for the very, very, very generous $50 super chat. Much, much appreciation. Saying keep at it, you'll get people back. Yeah, I know. I just change of time, and all that stuff, and not being live for a while, kind of lost a live audience. Even though I do have a lot of people that watch the video clips, and I've always had a lot of people watch the video clips, but the live audience, it is good to see a lot of people coming back. So I do appreciate that. And I'm sorry I was gone for so long. But I'm here. I'm here now. So we're doing this thing. Let's go. All right. Let's get to the tariffs. It is actually not my birthday, but thank you. I appreciate it. It's actually my sister's birthday, who, passed away several years ago. So, but thank you for that. I appreciate that. Nope, my birthday is actually in September. All right. Moving on. Some GOP lawmakers are looking to rein in President Donald Trump's abilities to impose tariffs. Whoa, so this is some backlash. With broad tariffs on Canada and Mexico set to kick in next week and a recently announced duty on most imported vehicles, Republicans in Congress are concerned about the massive price increases on everyday goods, and they're worried that it may trigger a backlash against the Republican Party. In fact, here is Representative Don Bacon on CNN saying, you know what, maybe we should, maybe Congress should kind of rein Trump in when it comes to tariffs.
Could Republicans in Congress specifically be doing more to push the president to try to de-escalate his trade war? What leverage do you have?
Well, in Article 1 in the Constitution, really tariffs should be a congressional initiated action. So this should come from Congress. However, I think we made a mistake. In the past, we passed legislation that gave the president some temporary tariff authorities. And I think we should look back and maybe restore the power back to Congress and take away the authorizations that we've allowed the presidents, not just President Trump, but President Biden and President Obama before him. This power should reside in the House and the Senate. And we have the power of the purse. And so I think we should restore these authorities back to the House.
Oh, did you accidentally give too much power to a man baby who is now using it to wreck the economy? Huh.
Whoopsie.
Oh, weird. Oh, it's not like you couldn't see this one coming. I mean, come on. Except, look, look at all the warnings, okay, that were given about Donald Trump and how, hey, he's going to destroy the economy. He's going to loot the treasury because, number one, he's an idiot, and number two, well, he's also an idiot. Okay. I should say number two. He's a piece of number two. But okay, anyway. Those warnings, though, TDS, that fake news. Oh, come on. You guys are just being mean to Donald Trump because Orange Man bad. No, Orange Man idiot. Orange Man dumb. Orange Man gonna crash the economy. Okay? Orange Man has no guardrails. Back in the first Trump administration, there actually was guardrails. There were people, adults in the room that were saying, no, sir, you can't just do that. That doesn't exist anymore. It's a free-for-all up there. And so he's doing whatever he wants And of course, what he wants is going to destroy this country. Okay, that's it. That's what's happening. Now, look, the thing is, people can literally go to the store and see that, oh, things are more expensive. Yeah, inflation, tariffs, these trade wars. That's what's going on. Now, there's another GOP representative, Ralph Norman of North Carolina, who came out against the tariffs and said they would be painful for Americans, but was like, well, I hope that Donald Trump's plan would work. What plan? What plan is there? There is no plan. He has no plan. Phil Swaggle, the Republican chief of the Congressional Budget Office, also said that the tariff plan would hurt American consumers in the short term. Now, he said it reduces the efficiency of the economy, but and it boosts the price level. We don't think it leads to sustained inflation, but there is a period of inflation that has a negative effect on families and on businesses and on business investment, he said on CNBC Thursday. Now, so here's the thing, though. Trump gaslights people on these tariffs. He keeps saying things like, oh, the foreign countries, they're going to pay so much. Foreign countries don't pay the tariffs. We pay the tariffs. The importer pays the tariffs. And then the importer will pass the cost down to the consumer. That's how it works. He cannot admit that, because if he did, he'd be admitting that, oh, my plan is to raise taxes on working people. Oops. All while cutting vital services, as the GOP works to give rich people massive tax cuts while cutting your health care and food. Okay? Look, it's a disaster. Okay? Everything that Trump is doing is a disaster. But I'm going to focus here on the tariffs, because these tariffs have alienated our allies. They have even led to Canada breaking up with us.
The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over. We can control our destiny. We can give ourselves much more than any foreign government, including the United States, can ever take away. We can deal with this crisis best by building our strength right here at home. It will take hard work. It will take steady and focused determination from governments, from businesses, from labor, from Canadians. We will need to dramatically reduce our reliance on the United States. We will need to pivot our trade relationships elsewhere. And we will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in generations.
That's Prime Minister of Canada, who was one of our biggest trading partners. They had bought billions of dollars in goods from our companies and our farmers. But thanks to Trump, they're going to go elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, people actually believed it when Trump said, oh, I'm going to lower prices. No, it was never true. The biggest con job ever. Prices are going up. Inflation is up. Tariffs, unemployment, they're all going up. And we're only about 3 months in. 3 months in. And people are already pissed. According to a recent 1,000-person survey conducted by Clever Real Estate, only 26% of Americans feel better off than they did back in September, with only a third, 34%, expecting a better financial situation 6 months from now. Disaster. 63% of those surveyed, meanwhile, believe the government is not doing enough to address economic issues like insurance costs that are going up, inflation, and the general state of the economy. The poll also revealed that nearly 3/4, about 74% of Americans, believe that inflation is going to get worse, with 70% expressing greater concern about inflation than back in September, and only 39% approve of Trump's approach to managing it, which is not really managing it at all. They're not really doing anything to help inflation. In fact, they're helping inflation get bigger. Trump is crashing the economy. And you know what? Starting to think, maybe that's on purpose. Well, what do you mean? if you crash the economy, rich people can come up and easily swoop up properties, housing, businesses. They can consolidate ownership even more than it is right now, and they're going to make a killing. What's to stop them? I mean, antitrust enforcement has been completely gutted. Okay, they're not going after these corporations. What's to stop the extremely wealthy, people like Elon Musk, but also companies like BlackRock, Blackstone, whatever, from buying up everything if the economy goes into recession or, I dare say, depression as a result of the actions that Trump has taken? He and his rich friends, they win, while we become nothing but serfs in a tech bro oligarchic hellscape. This is what people like Peter Thiel, a gigantic Donald Trump, Musk, J.D. Vance voter, wants. Remember, Thiel says monopolies are good. He thinks monopolies are awesome. He wrote, if you're starting a company, if you're the founder, the entrepreneur starting a company, you always want to aim for monopoly. You always want to avoid competition. Competition is for losers. So he hates competition, which, by the way, means he hates capitalism. Okay? Now, this goes along with his movement towards dark enlightenment, which is it's an oxymoron for one. But secondly, it basically is just a fancy word for neo-fascism. Media researcher David Columbia called this movement, quote, the worship of corporate power, to the extent that corporate power becomes the only power in the world. One of that movement's loudest voices, by the way, is another blogger called Curtis Yarvin, who Thiel has invested a lot of money into. So, to get where they want to go, where they don't have democracy anymore, they would have to first crash the economy. That looks like the goal of Donald Trump. Whether he's smart enough to realize that that's what he's doing, that is what he's doing. Okay, so I don't know. People like Thiel, they only needed somebody who's smart enough to operate a pen, okay, but dumb enough to believe that, oh no, everything's going to be great if I just do this particular thing. If I end up crashing the economy, it's going to be great. I'll benefit from it somehow. Look, Trump is not about helping voters, and what he's about is, and what this movement is about behind him, is fundamentally changing the United States into a place where freedom no longer exists and the rich rule everything. It's definitely not a country I want to live in. Vertical Flats, thank you for becoming a channel supporter, a channel member. Thank you. Have I reached out to other YouTubers to get my name out there? I am so bad at self-promotion. So I guess the answer to that is no. I do know other YouTubers. I mean, I've done shows, with Jesse Dollimore. I don't know if you saw that. That was a lot of fun. Jesse's a great guy. I have had people like Mike Figueredo, the Humanist Report on the show. I'm working on doing some collaboration with Farron Cousins over at Fair and Balance, Ring of Fire, all that stuff. So I do know some people, but generally I do not. I'm not so good at marketing myself. Not so good at selling myself. Maybe y'all could help me with that by, promoting me as well. I'd appreciate that. But yeah, I'm working on that as well. I always feel weird when I try to market myself. Weird. Yeah. It's a good idea since the show name changed from TYT Nation, Waldorf Nation to Logical Leftist. Yeah, I mean, the first... Hold on. So the first name change actually was not my idea. I was actually approached to change the name from TYT Nation, which is it's good because I'm not actually part of that anyway. And so, yeah, that's fine. But I did want to change it to Logical Leftist because I think that reflected this channel far better than the whole nation thing. So, but yes, that is a good idea, Vertical Flats, and I appreciate the feedback. Collaborate with Tim Pool? Probably not. I would end up getting into a debate with him that he would lose. Just saying. All right. Let's move on to Greenland versus JD Vance. I think Pac-Man and Midas Touch could be a good collaboration. I've tried, collaborating with Pac-Man, and it was a no-go. It was a no-go. I think there are people that are too big to be interested in being, in pounding with smaller channels. And I think Pac-Man's probably one of those. And Midas has no interest in, I don't think, this channel, or me. So, I don't know. It is really difficult to actually speak to these other creators when you're as small as I am. And you think, well, you got 225,000 subscribers. Still small. Weirdly enough. Okay. Let's do the story. Okay. Residents of Greenland are saying no thank you to a visit from Usha Vance, the wife of Vice President JD Vance. So that trip actually is happening today. So they are now currently in Greenland. But prior to this trip, U.S. officials were reportedly traveling around the Danish-controlled territory looking for people who would be interested in a visit from the Second Lady. It's according to a report earlier in the week from Danish TV2. So why were officials running around Greenland anyway, asking if they wanted to meet with Usha Vance? I think it has a lot to do with Donald Trump's insane idea of purchasing it. Okay, or if that fails, like possibly invading it. Ugh. And it turns out the latter might be more plausible because nobody in Greenland really is at all interested in being an American, much less meeting with Vance, either of the Vances. In fact, not only are residents not interested in seeing the Second Lady, the travel company that originally said it would host Usha said, nah, you know what? Never mind. Not interested. In a post on Facebook, the company said that the U.S. consulate had called and asked if they wanted to visit. The company initially said yes, and then was like, oh, no, it turns out this is not what we want. After closer consideration, however, we have now informed the consulate that we do not want her visit, as we cannot accept the underlying agenda and will not be part of the press show that, quite of course, comes with it. No thanks to nice visit. Greenland belongs to Greenlanders, said the company. Oops. I love it. Oh. Now, that cancellation came in the same day that Vice President JD Vance announced that he was going to be joining along. And so there you can see that that picture is from him landing at the Space Force base. Way to go, JD. You ruined the trip. You ruined it. No, I mean, the whole trip was doomed to begin with. Okay. Nobody is interested in seeing JD or Usha Vance. Sorry. They're not even able to go and watch that dog sledding event. Apparently that invitation or that whatever, if it was on the schedule, it ain't on the schedule no more. As it currently stands, they'll just be staying at the U.S. Space Force base, and that's it. Wow. Congratulations. Now, Danish authorities prior to this visit also spoke out. Denmark's prime minister, Mette Frederiksen, had accused the U.S. of exerting pressure on Greenland through this visit. Quote, I have to say that it is unacceptable pressure being placed on Greenland and Denmark in this situation, and it is pressure that we will resist. You cannot make a private visit with official representatives from another country when the acting Greenlandic government has made it very clear that they do not want a visit at this time. Fredrickson went on to say that the U.S. delegation's arrival is clearly not a visit that is about what Greenland needs or wants. President Trump is serious. He wants Greenland. Therefore, this visit cannot be seen independently of anything else. And there it is. Greenland, just not into you. Not into Donald Trump. And so, look, internationally, it would be funny if this wasn't like destroying the United States and our alliances with our friends, with friendly countries. Denmark, friendly country. Canada, friendly country. At least it was. Now, because of Donald Trump's idiotic bumbling, I mean, we've made an enemy out of Canada. No, they don't want to be our 51st state. No, you're challenging the sovereignty of one of our friends, our neighbors. You idiot. Greenland, not at all interested. Greenland, okay? No, Panama Canal. They're not just going to give it back. It's ridiculous. So, no, they don't want to become Americans, okay? It's almost as if people see Donald Trump for what he is. People outside of the United States see him for what he is. A bumbling, narcissistic piece of crap. But at least he called Carney prime minister. That's true. Very, very true. Fair point. All right. Last story here. This weekend, prepare for more protests against Elon Musk. According to new reports, organizers are planning hundreds of protests at Tesla showrooms across the country, as well as internationally. So these Tesla protests are going global. Organizers have dubbed it the Tesla Takedown's Global Day of Actions and will happen on Saturday, March 29th. So now, this is the latest and largest in a series of demonstrations that began shortly after Trump was inaugurated, with the help, of course, of Elon Musk, who gave over $277 million to Donald Trump's re-election campaign. Organizers say that the rallies will take place in front of more than 200 Tesla locations worldwide, including nearly 50 in California alone. Awesome. What is the goal, though, of these protests? To send a message to the Trump administration that they're against what Elon Musk is doing. Laying off thousands of people, cutting department budgets like to the bone, giving Nazi salutes, and getting rid of entire agencies. Nobody voted for this, and nobody voted for Elon, said Vicky Mueller-Olvera, who has been organizing Tesla takedown protests in the San Francisco Bay Area. He's an unelected super billionaire and a thug. Let me just add, aspiring super villain to that description. Okay, I like to call him Phony Stark. Okay, he could have paid to eliminate hunger. Instead, he bought Twitter and brought back the neo-Nazis on the platform and made it just even worse of a hellhole than it was before. It was never great. But X is just a disaster. It's terrible. Okay. But, that's what he did. That's what he spent his money on instead of solving world hunger. Great. Awesome. Now, Olvera said that the demonstrators are asking people to do 3 things on Saturday. 1, don't buy a Tesla. Well, I'm way ahead of you there. Okay. Not that I could afford to anyway. Sell off Tesla stock. I don't own any stocks, but if I did, definitely wouldn't be in Tesla. And join the Tesla takedown protest movement. Now that is something you could do. Normally, I would say that it's difficult to gauge whether or not a boycotts are all that effective. Okay. But in this case, the Tesla takedown seems pretty effective. Since Trump's inauguration, Tesla stock has plummeted more than 35%. Sales have nosedived, and the resale value for used Tesla appears to have hit an all-time low. Musk's own net worth has fallen by 25% since then, or about $100 billion. Remember how rich this guy is. So losing $100 billion, unfathomable. But Musk, he's still the richest man in the world. That said, he is losing money, and he is over-leveraged. And that's the other thing. A lot of his net worth is tied into Tesla stock. So this guy is extremely over-leveraged. If he loses stock value in Tesla, that's going to be disastrous for him. Okay? Now, foreign markets, by the way, have hit Musk really, really hard. In fact, 94% of Germans say that they will not buy a Tesla. So, oops. And that, by the way, is part of Musk trying to buy their elections. But let's be pretty clear, too. It's also because Tesla is a crappy company. I mean, their Cybertruck, what I like to call the Wank Panzer, is a complete mess. They do not do the self-driving. That self-driving technology does not work. And the Wank Panzer literally falls apart because of how cheaply it was made. They're gluing the fenders on. And they're just falling right off. They're falling right off. People are running away from Teslas, and it's not because they're randomly catching on fire, which they do, by the way. There's a lot of other good reasons that people are running away from Tesla. And no amount of shilling on the White House lawn alongside Donald Trump, who's like amazed by a computer, is going to save this company from the backlash. People do not want to buy crappy swastika cars. I mean, the EV market has gotten pretty large. Okay? So there's another reason. Other car makers just do it better. And they don't come with the baggage of being so close to Donald Trump. And they don't have a man-baby CEO who allegedly pays people to play video games for him. I'm a video gamer. I love video games, all right? It's one of the things that I do a lot. I would never pay someone to play a video game for me. What's the point? What is the point? Oh, well, the rankings. So I got to be higher in the Path of Exile 2 rankings. So do it yourself. It's not like you have anything else to do. You're a billionaire. You have all the time in the frickin' world. Play your own video games. Moron. Good Lord. I don't know. I don't know if that's one of the things that frustrates me about Elon Musk the most as a gamer. I mean, there's a lot of things. All right, that frustrate me about this guy. But paying somebody to play video games for you? What? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And by the way, he got hilariously roasted by Ubisoft. Not exactly the greatest company. Okay, they've had a lot of issues, but the Ubisoft guy that ran the Assassin's Creed, Shadows account, roasted him. So he was making fun of, Elon Musk was making fun of Hassan Piker for playing the game on stream. And then He's like, Hassan Piker, what a phony, he's getting paid to play a crappy game. and so the Assassin's Creed X account was like, oh, did the person that you play video games for you say that? You come up with that idea? It was great. I love it. So now that said, getting back to the Tesla takedown, Elon Musk is feeling the heat. All right, he's feeling the pressure. Thanks to these protests. Jonathan V. Last, editor for The Bulwark, wrote this: I would go so far as to say the Tesla takedown protests have been one of the most consequential protest movements in the shortest amount of time ever. They helped obliterate 1/3 of Elon Musk's net worth in like 100 days. And when you attack his money stack, you attack his power. Truer words have not been spoken. Look, I live in a small town, okay, which has a college. So in my town where I live, you get this mix of conservative small town folks as well as like college kids, okay? We got hardware stores next to pot shops. So many pot shops. And you even have, though, a self-described inclusive church, which is welcoming to the LGBTQ plus community, right? And so I was driving down the road, and there were, in front of that church, anti-Elon Musk protests. I love to see it. Look, I wanted to join in, but, I was bringing home dinner, so I really couldn't. But nonetheless, if it's spreading to little towns like mine, and we're in Trump country, okay? Like my county voted for Trump, has a Republican representative. But if it's spreading to places like where I live, that's a big deal. Now, Olvera said she had first heard about a protest happening near her in the Bay Area, and so she checked it out. She went there, they were hanging out, and people started joining in. Just random people started joining in. It grew from there, even including some Tesla owners who were like, I bought this before Elon went crazy, just to let you know. I'm sorry. I'd get rid of it if I could. I see Elon Musk as hijacking our government, and he's just dismantling everything that we hold dear, Olvera said. Everything that people have fought long and hard for, like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and our beautiful national parks, it just feels like the rug is getting pulled out from under us. Exactly. And of course, that's the plan. This is all Peter Thiel Project 2025 stuff, ushering us into basically tech bro oligarchy. All right. Now, thankfully, there is a backlash to that, and these protests have been peaceful. In fact, on BlueSky, the Tesla takedown account has swelled in followers, hitting about 25,000 in a matter of weeks. And there is no gaming of the algorithm on BlueSky in order to get followers like you see on Twitter. This is all organic. These are not paid protesters. These are non-violent protests. In fact, the Tesla takedown organizers have condemned recent instances of vandalism. In fact, here's what they said. We are a nonviolent grassroots protest movement. We oppose violence and destruction of property. Peaceful protest on public property is not domestic terrorism. That, of course, is in response to the FBI calling the protests against Tesla terrorism. Okay. Now, look, obviously I'm going to be against vandalism, right? And the instances of vandalism. I mean, the way that I see it is, why set Teslas on fire when you could just wait for them to set themselves on fire? Because that's what happens with a lot of these swastikars. Okay. Yeah. It's been known to happen. It's been known to happen. Bit of a fire risk. That said, Saturday, the Tesla takedown organizers are expecting to see the biggest turnout yet. 213 planned protests from Waterville, Maine to Honolulu, Hawaii. And that number includes 32 international locations in countries such as Australia, Finland, and Germany. So if you are looking to do a little bit of activism this weekend. You can't go wrong with joining the Tesla Takedown. The Tesla name was respectable until Elon took it. I am shocked he is allowed to use it. Yeah, somebody who knows all about Tesla. Remember, Nikola Tesla was the guy who was trying to give everyone free electricity. Okay, to see it in the hands of someone like Elon Musk, who is, using that brand to usher in like oligarchic fascism, is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. The guy's got to be, funny enough, probably wrote, spinning in his grave so much that maybe he is creating electricity. Okay. Hook a battery up to that and we'll get free electricity. No, seriously, though, like, it is disgusting to watch. And, what can you do other than join in these massive protests? All right. So, that's it. That's all I got for y'all. Thank you for joining the live stream. Thank you for all that. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for liking and sharing the stream. Please sign up, become a channel member, or become a patron. Patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf to help out the channel, to help out the show. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your families. And we will see you back here, hopefully, on Monday. Love you all. And take care.